You tell me.
From yours, who will the advertisers pay to get to?
Right.
And how well do you target that particular audience? How narrow-
That's service
And
quality.
then customer satisfaction with your audience.
So, and what I'm going to do, I'll spend a little bit of time on this. The quality of audience, it really depends on who I'm sitting in front of. You know, if I'm sitting in front of somebody that is a financial advisor and they want somebody that's making over $100,000 a year, I can pinpoint where that person, what stations they're listening to and what time frames they're listening to. But if I'm the quick pay guy that, you know, you're giving a short-term loan to, you're not looking for somebody that's making $100,000. You're looking for somebody that's maybe lower income and they're working part-time and they need some help quick. So what really we try to define when we're sitting down with the client is what does quality mean to that particular client. So I'll talk a little bit about that. I'll talk about putting schedules together and how we make sure that whatever that client's trying to accomplish, that we deliver on that and some of the tools that we use for that. I'll talk about copy and making sure that we're airing a quality commercial that's going to cut through the clutter that you guys hear every single day. You know, the reality is we all, on average, depending upon what study, we see up to 2,000 advertisements every day. And that starts with the logo on your clock that you shut off and wait 10 more minutes before you get out of bed, and the logos on your toothbrush and your toothpaste and your deodorant, and you get in your car and you see a logo on the front of the car, and all the way to work and all the way back home every night, you're bombarded with messages. So, you know, for you to be an advertiser and to cut through all of that, we got to make sure that we produce a really good commercial for you. So those three things really center around the client aspect and how we make sure that we provide our clients with a quality product. The next piece that I'll talk a little bit about is content, and that's what our jocks do and how we keep you listening to our radio stations. It's how we kind of measure that, how we make sure that you're satisfied and you keep coming back every day. And then lastly, I'll talk about the quality of cluster and putting all of that together. You know, the thing that I think, end tonight on, and that's really coming back to people and what we do at Cumulus to try to attract the brightest and people that work for us, because all the measures that I have in place, it doesn't matter if I've got a bunch of people who don't really care and don't want to fulfill on some of the things that we have to offer. So that's a little bit about what I thought I'd talk about tonight, if that's okay. Again, the first three are really about the advertisers and how I hone in and use some of the tools that we have to make sure that I'm delivering the audience that you want. I'm delivering, putting together a schedule that's going to be effective for you. I'm going to write copy that's effective for you. So the quality of audience, really where that starts, it's training my salespeople and even my jocks. A lot of times my jocks go on sales calls with us because, you know, you may not care who I am, but if Bob Clark walks in with me, well, it sets the tone a little bit different. Or if Juan Velasco of KRST walks in. So a lot of times we have our clients meet our talent, but really what is really key for us to make sure that we deliver a great advertising campaign, and that's having that client give us enough time to talk to them about their business. And sometimes that's one of the things advertisers want to walk away from. They just, you know, put a schedule together for $5,000 and I'll go from there. Well, it's hard to do if they don't tell us about their business. So, you know, one of the things that we, again, start with is it's really talking to that advertiser that if you're going to invest money, whether it be me or my competitors, you should really give us enough time and enough information so that we can hone in on who you want walking through the door, or maybe who's not walking through the door. And we really ask a series of questions, and there is a bit of a science to that part of doing a good needs analysis to make sure that we're pulling what the real drive is to that business. So that's real critical, and again, that's one step that some of our advertisers don't give us that time. They just don't. So we try to do the best we can with the information we have, but we love when a client will sit down and really talk to us about their business, how they started, why they started, what drives traffic, you know, again, who's walking in the door, who's not walking in the door that they want, you know, what makes their business absolutely different than anybody else in their category. You know, most people have what we call a USP, a unique selling proposition. I do this better than anybody else in the city, And we really try to pull that out of an advertiser because that's typically what we want to talk about when we start going, writing copy for them, telling our audiences, you do this better than anybody else, and that's why you should go see them or eat at their restaurant. So again, it starts with a really good needs analysis for us. We want to match our audience to what that advertiser's needs are. And again, I'll show you a couple of things. We have a whole lot of tools, but I'll show you just a real brief bit about RAB. RAB stands for Radio Advertising Bureau. Most radio stations belong to the Radio Advertising Bureau, and they provide us a wealth of information about radio formats and who listens to radio formats, because there's some generalities. If you listen to a country station here, the demographics are pretty similar to country stations in other markets. And News Talk and AC, all AC stations are about a 60-40 split between female and male. So we look at kind of a national information, how those formats go nationally, and then I break it down with two pieces of information, or two companies that we buy research from, Scarborough Research and Nielsen. Nielsen used to be called Arbitron. You might hear, Nielsen has always been in the TV business. They bought Arbitron out, so they're measuring listenership in the radio world now. Scarborough's a national company, and they go in and they would call you at home and say, hey, would you like to take a short survey? That short survey is about 45 minutes long. And so they have to call a heck of a lot of people to actually go through. But if you take that survey, it's fascinating because they'll ask you your age. They'll ask you if you're working, how much money you make, what kind of beer you drink. Did you fly last year? What airlines did you fly on? Are you going to buy some furniture? And it's amazing the questions that they'll get you to answer, and they base that survey. They do that twice a year in Albuquerque, and they do about 1,800 people each time, and we average the two and see what radio station that person that's going to buy advertiser, that's going to buy furniture, what are they listening to, and what's their age demographic. So we use all of those things to kind of really pinpoint what's going to make this advertising campaign work, and where's the quality in that. So I'm going to bring this down and show you a couple of those pieces, if that's okay. Is that all right?
Mm-hmm.
So this right here, everybody can see that, can't they? Let me see. This is kind of a weird format that I'm looking at. So I'll just show you a bit of this. This right here shows in the left-hand column, and again, this is Radio Advertising Bureau. This is nationwide. And I pulled up the country format. And this is adults 18 plus that listen to radio, and this is adults 18 plus that actually listens to the country format. So again, what I try to determine is who listens to country, who listens to News Talk, who listens to Top 40. And if anybody's brilliant enough to figure out how to get rid of this piece over here, let me know.
Under your view menu.
What's that?
There, under your view menu.
Views.
2 bars.
Show full screen.
Yeah, go to full screen.
I'll read it to you because at your age, I don't know that you're going to be able to read it. I had to go there. Come on, that was funny. I loved that. Gosh, guys, I got to tell you, I don't know that I can even read this.
Control plus.
What's that?
Control plus.
Control plus?
Will increase the size.
Fantastic. So what you'll see here with the country format, what I look at is do I index higher than the average? So you can see in people 21 plus, I index, or this is females and males, the country format index is just a little bit less, but we're 21% more likely than the average radio listener to be in the demographic of 18 to 34. We're more likely to be in 1849. We're more likely than the average to be in 2554. Once you get into that older demographic, country listening starts going down just a little bit. But
So
here's
you're saying that country music is more popular in New Mexico than nationwide.
this is nationwide. This is all radio listening, and this is country radio. nationwide.
Nationwide, oh, okay.
So I'll show you the Albuquerque stuff in just a second, but I'll show you the wealth that you can